This
Dude,
is probably a bad idea.
dude, I hate to pull this card, but my mom was a homeless resident in DC. I give a whole lot of
You
a fuck.
hated, but you did it. You hated to do it, but you did it. You didn't have to, but you did it.
I'm going to.
Exploiting people, exploiting your own fucking mom. That's pretty sad, man.
What did you just say?
Instead, you're using and leveraging your mom's experience, horrible as it is, in order to score a point on a fucking Twitch debate panel. That's some fucking shit, dude.
This isn't a panel. I know all you do is
Fair
run
enough.
the panel
It's not a
circuit.
panel.
This is a
It's not a
conversation. Well, this is
panel.
not even a conversation.
It's
This is a yelling. This is a yelling thing.
Exactly.
But at the end of the day, the reason I said that is I was trying to express to you that I give a lot of a fuck about housing insecurity and people losing their homes. Because the reason I got into politics in the first place is because my mom did dope and was homeless, and that fucked me up, and I don't like that shit. And that's where I got my trauma, since you care so much about trauma, right? And that's something I care about, and I share that information with you. I didn't mean to exploit it in a debate. If you don't give a fuck, you don't give a fuck. But that means a lot to me, and I care about this. Oh, there's Death Absurdity. That's the guy I wanted to talk to. Death Absurdity? You want to talk? We can talk about it right now. Let's do it. Because this is the most bad faith bullshit. Come on, man. Yes, hop in the stream waiting room. Oh, are you in my Discord? Is that what's going on? No, you're in... Are you in the flock? Or what are you, like... What are you in? I'm in your stream waiting room. Are you? Let me go back. Maybe I clicked the wrong thing. Oh, you are in my stream waiting room. Okay, let's talk. Hey, buddy. How's it going?
Give me a sec. Let me mute the stream so I don't get an echo.
Okay.
Okay. So, where do you want to start? Where do you want to begin?
How I'm using the suffering of others to profit.
Well, sure. There's always a risk for that, right? Like, even in the best faith scenarios, even in the best kind of situations, there's always a risk when you cover the trauma of others that is going to be exploitative. I don't say that necessarily that you are going to intend to do that. However,
that is kind of what you said in the tweet, though, isn't it?
And yes, but I want to start at the beginning. And so, even if it wasn't for your past actions, I would have issues with this thing. I would have issues with any Twitch streamer or any just Joe Schmo out there going to Poland, or even worse, Ukraine, an active war zone, and trying to get interviews from people. When people go through trauma, there is a very good chance that if you do not approach it correctly, that you're going to re-traumatize the individual. And that is something that journalists have to account for, and they're trained in a lot of cases. Not all cases, obviously. But this is something that happens a lot, and is something to be aware of. And honestly, I do not think you are. I could be wrong, but I do not think you are. Second point is, because of your past actions, and because I believe, and as I've seen, you've exploited others in the past. I feel that it is only right to be able to call you out and say, hey, if this guy exploited others in the past before, he's done this before, then there is a greater than average chance that he might do so again. And people who are war refugees are in a very sensitive position where they are easily able to be exploited. That wouldn't be true if they were just some average Joe Schmo down the street.
Okay, so the first thing I want, before we get into either of those things, I just want to say that you are, in this tweet, accusing me of using the suffering of all these dead Ukrainians who are dying, being blown up by artillery, rocket strikes, some of them being starved to death in places like Mariupol, etc., and these refugees fleeing the conflict, that I'm exploiting them to profit off of them through subs and donos, gotta make sure they like and follow and
Yes.
sub while he's
Yes.
out there interviewing
Yes.
refugees. Do you have any evidence whatsoever, anything contextually or anything whatsoever, to read that as my intent?
Again, based on your past, your exploitation of other people's sexual
Okay.
assaults,
Okay.
and how you've used that
Sexual
to
assaults.
bully other platforms. Let me finish. How you use that to bully other people's platforms and to hurt their streams. And yes, because you've done this in the past, there's a very real possibility you will do so again in the future. I can't read the future. I could be totally wrong, but I think that it is worth calling you out and ringing the alarm bell, if you will, and saying, look, this is a situation that has happened before. You know, maybe he'll do it again. Maybe this is something we should be concerned about. Especially when there's much better ways. If you wanted to help these people, there are 100 better ways to do this.
First things first. What sexual assault did I profit off of?
The whole I don't want to relitigate it, but the whole
No,
Cameron,
you already opened it. Number one, it had nothing to do with sexual assault. It was sexual harassment.
Sexual harassment,
There is a
fair
gap.
enough.
There is a
You're right. I
significant gap there.
misspoke, but in the tweet I did say sexual harassment.
Okay.
I just
So the
misspoke
first
there.
thing,
I'll
can I
correct
also say, you've got multiple facts about the situation wrong. Okay. The
it. I
first,
disagree.
you didn't even let me say what you got wrong. So first, how did I leverage my power as her boss?
Well, that's the power dynamics at play, right? When you were someone's boss, there's just this,
Okay. When was I her
natural-
boss? Because I was never her boss. She never.
You were her landlord. She was staying at your place, correct?
She paid half the rent. I paid the other half. We were
Okay,
just
but
roommates.
you were the one that owned it,
that,
right?
But that's bullshit.
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
You
The
don't
thing
think
is,
so?
because if I own the property, but we're both just spending half, there's no way you could tell me that that's just by us
That
being
you didn't
roommates,
have any
that's
sort of power
leveraging.
over her in
No,
this
I think,
situation?
but
Are
you say,
telling
but
me
how did
that?
how did I leverage it?
Are
Tell
you
me,
saying that?
tell me how I leveraged it, because you said I leveraged my power as her
Sure,
landlord.
mhm.
How did I do that?
So again, as I understand it, you were the one that pressured her to come forward about these claims, correct?
That's not true.
You don't think that's true?
That's not true. I know that's not true. I lived it.
Okay.
She wanted to go on the biggest possible platform.
Yeah, you were her producer, or she was your producer. Sorry.
She booked
You-
3 panels as a favor.
Yeah, but she was your producer.
That's no. That
correct?
sounds
Yes,
that sounds like
that's
bullshit.
true.
No,
that
you're
is what
fucking
happened.
bullshitting. 3
Okay,
panels as a
fair enough. I mean,
favor
that's
is a
what happened,
boss.
right?
Is that what that
As a
is?
favor?
When I
Okay.
think boss, I think of employee and employer as if she's getting paid. I never paid her. She booked 3 panels as a boss. A lot of people has, if anything, she would be the one doing me the favor. How do I leverage her doing me a favor as a benefit?
Did she get paid for this?
She never got paid. I didn't give her a dime.
Never got paid. Okay.
No, she booked 3 panels as a favor. I was like, hey, I don't have a booker right now. You're good at that. Can you do that for me quick? That was it. And I leveraged that? How did I leverage that?
Well, you were in a position of power over her.
How? Through leveraging.
Again,
the boss
she
thing.
was staying at your place.
She paid half the rent. It was roommates. And I didn't leverage it in any way. You made the accusation that I leveraged it.
You
Did
did.
I ever threaten to, like, I will kick you out if you don't come forward? You're making it sound like I put a gun to her head and said, if you don't come on my stream, I'm going to kick you out of my fucking apartment and you're going to lose
It
your
doesn't
job.
have to be that.
It does sound like that.
It
Because you
does
called me
not
your
have
boss.
to be
You
that
called
kind
her.
of pressure.
You called me
even
her
just
boss.
even just knowing the natural power dynamic between
The
these two
natural
people is
power
enough.
dynamic.
Mhm.
The natural power dynamic. So the natural power dynamic of me being her boss, and what that really means is she booked 3 panels as a favor. I never paid her a dime. Or me being her landlord, what that really means is that we were roommates for 2 months. Most of the time, by the way, she was in Europe. She wasn't even here. How could I have even leveraged that power?
But not all the time. Again, when
Not
she was
all the
there,
time.
she stayed with you.
Yeah,
she
as
stayed
a
at your place.
roommate. How did I leverage it? By the way, proving this doesn't prove that I leveraged the power in any way surrounding the situation.
Okay.
How did I leverage it?
Again, it just looks really bad.
I don't
I'm
care
telling
if
you
it
right
looks
now,
bad.
looks really
Fuck
bad.
optics.
I do.
I don't care.
I do.
I don't care.
I do care about
that
optics.
has
I
nothing.
do care about how it
I
looks
don't
because
care
it goes in
because
to
whether
how
it-
things played out.
God.
It goes in
Oh
to
my
how things
God.
played out. What you did, was wrong. It was
Dude,
unethical. It was exploitative. It was
Listen to
exploitative.
me.
You used someone
Listen to me.
else's trauma in order to attack another streamer who you were competing with in order to destroy
already.
his platform. This is what happened. These are the facts.
These are not the facts. These are speculation. You're speculating now. You're speculating that my intention was to destroy Prime.
I am extrapolating on the data, which we can see with our eyes.
What data?
What actually happened?
Oh my god, what data?
You made accusations. They were fucking wrong, and you had to walk those things back. You did not vet your sources. You did not even giving you the best faith possible interpretation. It shows that you should not be doing any fucking journalistic work because you don't know how to fucking vet your sources.
Look at this guy. So this
you made a false accusation. You hurt another person. You destroyed someone else's career.
Look,
you took food from their mouth.
I destroyed their career.
Table.
I didn't do. Okay, number one,
you took
they still
food from their
stream.
table. Oh my god!
How
can you not see this is a terrible thing?
What? Oh, okay, number one, fuck you for trying to strawman me
well,
like that.
Fuck you too.
No, literally, I don't like you. Okay,
because
you're being
I don't like you either. You snake.
You're being a scumbag right now. You're dragging this thing out. That's completely.
Sir.
This is completely unrelated.
And this is why you are not a trustworthy individual. This is why you are not a trustworthy individual in order to.
Because you fumbled the ball. You didn't know. You don't have any preference. You have no evidence. You have no evidence. You are speculating. You have no evidence that I leveraged any of these things. You have no evidence that you leveraged any of these things. You don't remember anything about the situation. It was her idea to come on my stream. Okay, let me just put that out there. By the way,
wow, this is a really bad look.
The thing is, I don't care if it's a bad look. Fuck optics. Okay, what I did was wrong. I've admitted it at the time after everything came to light. I didn't do it properly. I've admitted that and I've apologized. But you dragging this out while also getting the facts out wrong months later, right, to try to leverage it against the trip so I can interview refugees is scummy. Definitely, when you're not, definitely shut up. I need to finish.
What value are you going to add to this?
Let me finish. You're not getting the facts right. That's the first problem. And this situation is basically completely unrelated. This is just you trying to turn this into a dunk for something that happened 8 months ago, which was terrible, but is unrelated to the situation in Poland and Ukraine whatsoever, okay? Completely unrelated.
Are you finished? Can I respond?
Sure.
Okay. So of course it's related, because when someone does something exploitative, when someone hurts people like you did, it is natural and probably wise to assume that perhaps we should look out at this behavior in the future, that it might be a problem in the future, that perhaps because you've done this in the past, it is more likely, not a certainty by any means, that you will do so in the future. And all I did at the end of the day was call you out on it on Twitter and say, hey, I think you're pretty scummy for doing this. And I stand by that.
Okay. So do you walk back the leveraging of my power as a boss and landlord? Okay. So you're just going to stick into that even though you got that completely wrong. Okay. Are you going to walk back that I made her, or it was my idea to get her on stream? Are you going to walk that back?
You know what? I'm not as certain about that, so I might. I might walk back that one. I'm not sure.
So, but
I will give you grace in that one.
So let's clarify that boss meant that she booked 3 panels as a favor. Okay. Boss, that's amazing boss relationship. Honestly, if I would have stopped, could have gone homeless if I stopped employing her in that manner, right? And landlord, which meant that the apartment that I have was in my name, and she lived with me for 2 months. The majority of the time she actually did live with me, she was off in Europe, frolicking around in Sweden or Finland or any of these places, right? So, for the majority of the time she did live with me, she didn't even necessarily live with me. And the rest of that time, she then lived with her parents, right? And so for about a month to maybe a month and a half, she did live with me and she paid half the rent. And you have no evidence whatsoever that ever.
I don't. Again, I'm not accusing you in a fucking court of law. What evidence do I need to say?
Well, no,
hey,
you have no.
This
because
is what
you're
I saw
saying
happen.
I'm leveraging something.
This is what I saw happen.
How did I leverage my status as the owner of this
and
apartment?
Hey, I could take evidence.
How did I leverage
look at it and I could say, oh wow.
How did I leverage it? How did I leverage my ownership of this apartment when we were paying 50-50
Yo,
split down the middle. How did I leverage that in this
I wasn't
situation?
in your house. I don't know.
You don't
but
know,
I
so why'd you say
know
that I leveraged
I
it?
know that you were in this position of power, so it's very likely that you may have. Kat claimed that Prime used
Wow,
his power
there it
over her,
goes.
and she
Very
was
likely.
freely booking individuals for
So
him.
why wouldn't she? By the way, so you don't have any evidence. You're just maybe, it's likely, I guess, kinda, because you don't trust me, but you don't have
Of
any
course I don't
evidence,
trust
and so
you.
you shouldn't say it if you don't have any evidence. I suspect things
No,
all the
you-
time.
oh,
I
oh my
suspect
God.
things all the time, but I don't say them out loud unless I have evidence. I suspect there's a lot of streamers that are grifting or doing bad things or doing this and that, and you want to know what I don't do? Definitely after the situation when I learned my fucking lesson is I don't come out and just make accusations. I would think if you're criticizing me for making public accusations and fucking it up terribly 8 months ago, you would check yourself before you make public accusations.
And I'm making public accusations right now because, again, this is what you did. This is what
This
happened.
isn't. You just said you don't have evidence. You just said you don't have evidence that I leveraged this stuff. You just said it. You're gaslighting me, man.
I'm gaslighting you.
You are
I'm
gaslighting me.
gaslighting you by
You have
showing
no
you
evidence
what
for any
happened,
of
my friend.
this.
By what happened, my friend.
You don't have- you,
your
like, have no
standard for
evidence.
evidence, your standard for evidence is so high that what
What do
evidence
you
could I give you
mean?
that
I
would
didn't even
convince you?
give you a
Let me
standard for
ask you
evidence. I
this.
asked you,
Dylan,
give me any.
Dylan,
Give
Dylan,
me
Dylan,
any
hey, hey,
evidence.
hey.
Give
What
me
evidence
any.
would convince you? What
And
evidence would
literally,
convince you? And I will provide it for you.
Give
What
me,
evidence?
okay. The evidence I would need is either some testimony from somebody or some statement or some text or something to show that I tried to leverage either my position as a person taking a favor from her for 3 panels or the person that she lived with as a roommate, but I had ownership of the apartment under my name, that I used that to like push her to come forward or something. When again, it was her idea.
I am saying this is highly likely that this happened.
so you
based
don't
on
have
the
any
situation
None.
I have seen, based on the
Literally
evidence of my
none.
eyes and my ears, the evidence of my senses, the evidence of the results of the of what happened.
Wait, can I just ask quick?
Yes.
Are you
Sure.
disabled in any manner when it comes to visions and
Of course
ears? Because
not. Of
maybe
course
that
not.
would affect why you don't understand
course
what's
not.
happening right now.
I completely understand what's happening right now.
But you don't. The thing is, you got to understand, right? I took my lashes. I want to take my lashes. I fucked up, right? But when months later, people are using this situation, which in my opinion, we can get into it more later if you want, is unrelated. I understand you disagree with that. But then you're saying things that are completely inaccurate to the situation. You could have just said, Dylan, because of the situation with Prime, I don't trust you here. Instead, you got into details that ended up not being true. And that's why I'm angry, because it's frustrating for me to look back at this when you're trying to make a point about why it's bad for me to go to Ukraine to interview refugees, and then you just drag out accusations you have no evidence of, and now you have to admit you have no evidence of, and the evidence you said is, I have vision. I could say that about anything.
If you recall, when we first started this conversation, if that is what we want to call it, I said that even without any of that, you going to Poland and to Ukraine, especially to Ukraine, would be a bad idea. That there are so many other ways you can use your resources, which are abundant, that you can use to help these people that would actually make a much bigger difference. That I think you inserting yourself into these people's lives and into their trauma in order to make a buck is probably not a good idea.
But you don't, again,
But
you're
added
reading,
to
you're
that
reading into
is the
intent.
addition that, yes, I do not like you because I think you did something very scumming.
Okay.
Very scumming.
Feelings mutual, by the way. I just want you to
That's
know that.
okay.
Okay.
No, I get it. But this is just an added layer to the problem here. War tourism is not a good thing.
It's not war tourism. I'm not going to the front lines. I'm not going to the war. I'm going to the place where the refugees are, and I'm asking them in advance, hey, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have an interview. I want you to know this is what I do for a living. This is what we would like to do. Would you be interested in this? Do you consent to have this conversation with me? And we can sit down and talk about your experience. If they say yes, then we sit down and have a 20 to possibly 30-minute conversation with them.
Do you compensate them in any way?
That's something I've considered, and I would be probably okay. I'd be open to it. I'm not against it.
again.
Like, what's so wrong with that? Like, I say that out loud,
Well-
and it
well,
feels
yeah,
so non-objectionable.
But I told you what's wrong with this. Unless you're trained in how to deal with people who have experienced trauma, they're very likely to re-traumatize them, which will cause them immense amounts of pain, immense amounts of suffering in the future. This is a real problem.
So the first thing, you don't know if it's very likely to re-traumatize them. Everybody's situation.
It's
mental
much
health.
more likely than an
let-
average person. I'm sorry, my dog's barking. Give me 1 second. But yeah, it's much more likely than the average
everyone's
person
mental-
because they're war refugees.
Yes,
They're
and
war
that's
refugees,
why
dude.
we're not just gonna walk up. I'm not gonna Logan Paul this shit with a camera like, hey everybody, there's a kid behind me, their mom died and the bombs. Hey, how's your dead mom going? Wow, wow, wow. I'm not doing that, right? What I'm doing is I'm specifically going out and looking for people and then getting their consent to record them and have a conversation with them. And those people who agree to it are probably gonna be people who think they're up to the task and want to talk on a platform. And if they want to talk to the platform and I have the platform available, I feel happy to offer that platform to them if they want to do it. And you are going to Ukraine, and you're looking at that Ukrainian and saying, no, you're not allowed to.
There is a big difference. There is a big difference for someone who reaches out to you and says, hey, I've had this experience and I want a platform to share this experience. There's a big difference between that and then going to where they are at and basically canvassing them and harassing them until they
harassing. What do you mean? What is this turned from? Hey, we asked them a question if they want to. It turned from that to you're harassing the refugees.
This is the problem,
you're going to the refugees going ooga booga booga.
I just don't believe you. I don't believe you're going to do this right. I don't
then why do you care?
Just
wait and watch. Just wait and watch. Then don't come out with inaccurate information about past
traumas.
Wait
and watch till you do till you.
But you're saying I'm going to harass them, but you got no evidence, dude.
This is probably a bad idea.
Dude, I hate to pull this card, but my mom was a homeless resident in DC. I give a whole lot of a fuck.
You hated, but you did it. You hated to do it, but you did it. You didn't have to, but you did it.
I'm going to.
Exploiting people, exploiting your own fucking mom. That's pretty sad, man.
What did you just say?
Said you're using and leveraging your mom's experience, horrible as it is, in order to score a point on a fucking Twitch debate panel? That's some fucking shit, dude.
This isn't a panel. I know all you do is
Fair
run
enough.
a panel ticket. This is a conversation. Well, this is not even a conversation. This is a yelling thing. But at the end of the day, the reason I said that is I was trying to express to you that I give a lot of a fuck about housing insecurity and people losing their homes. Because the reason I got into politics in the first place is because my mom did dope and was homeless, and that fucked me up, and I don't like that shit. And that's where I got my trauma, since you care so much about trauma, right? And that's something I care about, and I share that information with you. I didn't mean to exploit it in a debate. If you don't give a fuck, you don't give a fuck. But that means a lot to me, and I care about this.
I do as well. And that is why I am concerned, my friend, when you decide to go for the clicks, views, and subs to a
you don't know that. You're just assuming intent.
Again, I'm extrapolating based on what you have done in the past.
But now you're the one who has made false accusations.
It is highly likely. I am not saying for certain. I'm saying it is highly likely.
Highly likely.
It is likely enough that I felt justified calling you out in a tweet.
Yeah, and then you got half the information wrong and can't defend anything.
Oh, this is some you know,
this is next
fucking gold mental gymnastics. You've just won the gold fucking medal, dude.
Okay, so you felt so do you want to go back to the tweet and we can go back to why basically half of this was wrong in the first place? You want to do this again?
So the only time I've seen you do any reporting, you exploited someone's sexual harassment allegations.
That's not number one. That's what you've seen. What about my reporting on January 6th or my reporting on the protest following January 6th?
I can't speak to that because I haven't seen it.
Okay.
But I can't see what I can't. So speak maybe on what I have viewed.
Okay, so maybe you should go look at that and tell me if that was bad.
Why should I?
Because you're saying that I just use these situations for clicks, views, and information, or blah, blah, blah. It's all grifting. Number one.
I'm saying you're going to use this specific situation, yes.
Yeah, but these are actual situations where I've done reporting, I guess you can quote. I don't even like to call it reporting, but I've went out into the field, so to speak, and actually covered situations, which that's a lot more comparable to a situation where I was personally, emotionally involved with another individual, my person who wasn't at the time my significant other, but would become my significant other because I was romantically interested in them. And those emotions and that stuff played into a disaster after I was misled by people like Samantha Banana, because then I platformed stuff that was unvetted. But the dynamics of that situation are completely different than what happened on January 6th.
But you can understand how I would have concerns when you reported on this these allegations and you didn't vet them, you didn't do your due diligence. You could see how I would have concerns, and I would have maybe a problem with you going on and potentially traumatizing these people again, and potentially doing a lot of harm. And heaven forbid you go to Ukraine itself. That would
now that you've said that, there's like 50% more of a chance I'm gonna do it.
Don't, like, seriously.
I don't care. The more you say don't do it, the more likely I'm gonna do it. I'm telling you that right now.
That's so dangerous, my friend. And I'm trying to like, do not do that. Do not do that.
Swipe or no swipe.
So dangerous.
Swipe or no swipe.
Is this the level you're going to do when I'm saying, hey, this?
I don't respect your opinion. I have talked to people who know a lot more about this than you, who are advising me on how to do it in the safest way possible. I'm going to trust them. If they believe it is safe, then I will do it. If they say the situation on the ground is currently not safe, then I won't. That's why I've not made a promise on going into Ukraine or not. I trust them much more than you, and since you respect expertise, definitely when it comes to trauma, apparently, then you respect their expertise here, I assume.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful.
But I don't trust you to, again, you say you're going to do this, but that's the crux of the issue. I don't think you will listen to this. I think you're just going to do whatever the fuck you want. And that is my opinion. That is what I think.
That's what you
think. And yes, you can say, well, you can't prove it. Well, yeah. And that's true. I can't prove it, but I can spout off a little bit on Twitter because, again...
Well, by the way, do you see the irony of you criticizing me for not vetting information while you're putting out incorrect information?
Again, I do not believe my information.
So how did I leverage my power as a landlord?
Except for maybe the fact, and I don't think I said this in the tweet, but I did say this here, and if I'm wrong about this, I will own up to it, that you were the one that pushed her to go forward. I might be wrong about that. I don't think I said that in the tweet, though.
You didn't say it in the tweet,
of course,
but you said I leveraged my power in these different ways.
Mm-hmm.
When at the
I believe you did. I think it's highly likely.
Literally every single one of these are wrong, and there's no evidence to support it. There's none, and you say there is, and I'm like, okay, what is it? And then you say my eyes, and you gotta understand why I don't. That sounds like bullshit to me, right?
Because I saw this go. I saw this play out.
Well, then do you have any? Is there any clips? I mean, I know the stream has over. The stream has over 300,000 views on YouTube. It is a massive stream where I took the biggest L of my fucking career. I'm sure if the clip exists proving that I leveraged my status as a landlord or as a boss or as a significant other, there would be evidence of that. And somebody would be able to link a clip or something, right?
Do you understand that we weren't in your home? That we weren't, when I should say I'm sorry. I wasn't in your home. I wasn't in these calls. And I can only trust your word that you did not do this. That is all I can do.
You can say nothing.
I don't trust your word.
If you don't trust my word and you don't have any evidence, then you can just be like, I don't know.
No, I don't have the evidence. I have enough circumstantial evidence to say, okay, yeah, this guy probably did it. Yeah, I can't prove it for a fact.
What's the circumstantial
evidence? I can't prove it for a fact.
Let me hear that next.
So again, the fact that you were in competition with Prime, so you leveraged.
How was I in competition in Prime, by the way? I'd like to hear that.
What do you mean? You're drawing from the same pool of viewers.
Okay, so the thing is,
so and again, look at his Amazon Lily panel. You destroyed that. There's a lot of people who just, because of your accusations.
Can I say? Do you want to know what's interesting? The thing is, I built up Prime by being a founder in his community, by constantly rating Prime.
You built him up. Yeah.
Wait.
Taking credit for his work.
I'm not taking credit for his hard work, but it is a fact that I had a founders bat in his community. I rated him after the end of my panels because he was another panel host, and I wanted to see the other panel hosts succeed. I mean, maybe you could say I was like just gassing him up or some shit, but I did that, right? Is that wrong or right? That I did raid Prime a lot. Okay.
I don't know. I don't know how often you rated him, but I
Okay.
believe you. Yeah,
Even,
okay,
even
I'll
if
stipulate
let's
to
say there
all
was
that.
let's say it was even a small amount, and that I had a founders managed community, it wouldn't make sense for me to raid the person, interact with the person, go on his show as a panel host, do everything I was doing, when I'm then worried about competition and then wanting to take out the competition. By
You
the
saw an
way,
opportunity, my friend, and this is how it works. Okay, so you see this happen. You do all the things you do because you don't know if you can take him out. So obviously you play along. But when you see an opportunity, you took it, and that's what I
so
believe you did.
I rated him under the auspices of one day taking him out. I got a
Not
founders.
necessarily. You didn't know you were going to do that or not.
So at the time I was good Dylan, but then I got corrupted by
What
the
do you mean
greed or
good
something.
Dylan versus bad Dylan?
Like,
This
yeah,
is
well,
just
it's like,
this
well,
is just
it's like at one point.
opportunistic Dylan.
So at one point,
This
I
is
was
just
rating him
opportunistic Dylan.
to have him have more viewers
When
and like
it made
collaborating
sense
with
to
him.
you to do
But
it,
like,
you did it. When
well,
it
how?
didn't
But
make
it
sense,
doesn't.
you
But it
stopped.
doesn't make sense. It doesn't make business sense.
Anyway, I have a previous engagement I need to get to. If you want to go through all the content in detail, we can do so on another day, and I will
Yeah.
have all my ducks in a row, and I promise you.
I don't think you have any
It's up to
ducks.
you. That's fine. You can think whatever you like.
Uh huh.
But at the end of the day, I will close with this. It's
Uh huh.
your money, it's your life, it's your choice. What you're doing though, there's much better ways to do it. Please, please, please consider doing anything else
No.
than what you're about to do. But anyway, peace.
Bye. That went as about as I expected. That's the thing, right? It's such a simple. The thing that gets me about it is I took the biggest L of my fucking life on that shit. Well, no, I've taken bigger L's, right? The attempt probably, but it's so I did something terrible, and it's so clear, and it's so easy to dunk on me for it. He somehow messed it up by getting most of the information in this tweet wrong. Well, literally every single part. Oh my god. My god, man. Dude, all the people from Top Center are so confused if they're still here. They're like, dude, what just happened? What just happened? It's okay, man. Everyone makes mistakes. The thing, I don't know if it's okay, right? Because, like, not everyone needs to forgive me. I can be the scumbag for them forever, right? I don't need their forgiveness, right? And I mean, it'd be cool to have it, but I don't need it. And I'm not going to beg for it or go out and search and dig for it, right? At the end of the day, I did what I did. It was terrible. It was bad. But Jesus Christ, leveraging that 8 to 9 months later on a completely unrelated topic, well, also, for whatever reason, who knows really. And not only that, but then the problem with the whole situation was me not having my ducks and information in a row. And then he just says a bunch of stuff that's completely incorrect about the situation in question when it's all publicly available. He could go watch the videos on it right now. We support the Poland trip. Let the people speak. Hey, Top Send community. Thanks. Somewhat self-aware. Thanks for the gifted tier 1. I appreciate it. It's okay because you owned up to them. That's the important thing instead of digging in even further. I don't know if owning up to something is enough, man. I don't know. I gotta live with it. It is what it is.